Hello, BookTube. I had book hunting adventures today out in the all-embracing heat and humidity. And I thought I would show you the results. Just 4 titles, because we don't want a long video. And the first one is a gem from overseas. It feeds a sweet tooth of mine. It's this thing. It's a big book on Venice that has all the usual lovely color photos of all of the great tourist attractions in Venice. But the thing that I got it for, I have a number of books like that. The thing that I got it for, those of you who might be new to the channel, Venice is my second favorite city on earth, and I spent time there. I lived there, and loved it. Absolutely loved it, and still dream about it. It's when you know that's when you know that a place has touched you on a deep level, is when you wake up from a dream about it. So I have books like this that have nice full color, high definition photos of all the things to see in Venice. But I got this one because it has fold outs. Especially this here, the segment in the back on all the different palaces along the Grand Canal. And it folds out to show you a bunches of them. I think I showed it on this channel. I just got just a little while ago, a book that also takes you palace by palace along the Grand Canal, but it doesn't have a neat fold out, and I'm easily impressed. So that was the first thing. And the second thing was a hardcover. It's a little bit knocked around, but I will reinforce it so that it lasts me a while. Certainly, so that it lasts me a reread. It's a fantasy classic that no one's ever heard of. It's The Dragon Waiting by John M. Ford. Which is set in a slightly reimagined late 15th century, 1470s, so right around the beginning of the Italian Renaissance. Only it spans all of Europe. It's a panoramic look at a late 15th century that never really quite happened. You go all the way from the marches of Wales to Italy and everywhere in between, and it moves really smoothly from one place to the next, and the dialogue is so good. I'm pretty sure that The Dragon Waiting had a mass market paperback reprint with a completely better cover, but it's, as far as I know, gone now, and of course completely forgotten. The one I mentioned it on this channel before. One of the things that I don't like about the genre of SFF, of science fiction and fantasy, is how pitiless it is to its own progenitors. The number of quality reprints is just virtually non-existent. Every once in a while, someone will make a project out of something like Robert E. Howard or H.P. Lovecraft is in no danger. But a great number of science fiction and fantasy classics just lapse out of print. So, as I've mentioned on this channel before, if you are looking to read great stuff in the genre and you walk into your local retail bookstore, the shelves in the science fiction and fantasy section will represent only the smallest fraction of the gems that are out there, and this is one of those gems. Is the point of that long disquisition. So I was very happy to see it. And then the next one is also a classic. It was dirt cheap, so I had to get it, even though there's a good practical reason why I shouldn't have. That's the problem with dirt cheap used books, is that you grab them even without thinking. They just go right into your instincts. It's On the Contrary by the great Mary McCarthy. And it's a collection of her nonfiction pieces. There's all sorts of great stuff in here, including a few essays on the state of current fiction from when she wrote it, I think in the 1940s or early 1950s. But some of the observations in there are so barbed that they are still sharp today. And the reason that getting On the Contrary, this was almost free, so I had to grab it. I just grabbed it automatically because I love it so much. I've read it so many times. But the reason that it was kind of pointless to do is because... Hang on a second. There we go. The reason that it was kind of pointless to do is because Library of America they're reprinting a lot of the nonfiction of Mary McCarthy. Everything that's in here will certainly be in those volumes, and those volumes won't be ratty. They won't be falling apart. They won't be partial. There'll be far more in them. It'll be sewn binding, acid-free pages, probably a slipcase. I know that I will have that, so I grabbed this just because I hated to leave it behind, I guess. And then the last thing is a UK edition. I love those, especially when there's some sort of appreciable difference between them and the American edition. And this is a great book. It's I Shall Bear Witness by Victor Klemperer. This is volume 1 of his time in Dresden, where he was a professor at the university there in the 1930s, and he was a Jew, but he was married to an Aryan woman, and was a loyal German, loved his country, and the Nazis came to power, and this is his diary, which later on it became very dangerous to his life, even to keep it, even to upkeep it, let alone to keep the previous pages. But this is the story of the just gradual tightening of the clamps all around his life as this regime targeted closer and closer the world of his life. And it's heartbreaking to read. It's just fantastic. It's a fantastic reading experience. But in the early entries, you can see him sort of rolling his eyes and thinking, look what they've elected now. These people are crazy, that sort of thing. And bit by bit, that's chipped away as he realizes that this is real and that it's not going anywhere. It's just going to get worse. So he gradually loses freedoms, one by one by one, each one tiny in its own respect, so that there's never a moment, really, where he steps back and says, this is totally unacceptable. My life is going to be in danger. This process isn't going to stop. And if you tried to capture this in fiction, you couldn't do as good a job. It's just ruthless to read. I like the UK edition because it does not toss a sop to the guarantee of the stupidity of the American reading public. In America, the edition is called I Will Bear Witness, and this is I Shall Bear Witness, which is better. It has a grander ring to it, and I don't know. I just everything about it is I don't have the American version of either this or the volume that follows it, and I want to. And of course, Klemperer was he was exempted a little from the clamp of these rules by the fact that he married right, but eventually that wasn't going to save him. Eventually, he and his wife were going to be executed, along with boxcars full of other people. It was random chance at the end of the war that saved him from dying. But you don't know that, and he doesn't know that, of course, in this volume. And it has all the immediacy of reading diaries, which is you've seen it on this channel before. I love reading diaries and journals. It has all that immediacy, but it's also directly in the spotlight of history. So I was very happy to find it. This is actually my find of the day, because I don't need another Venice guide, even one with fold out pages. And the John Ford book I love, but I'm only going to reread it once. And the Mary McCarthy I don't need, because I'm going to be getting a better version of it, and I already know that. But this was the find of the day because I don't have a copy and I want one. So there you go. Those were the proceeds of my out and about trip. So just some interesting books to talk about, and we'll get back to more in due course. Thank you, BookTube.